Agriculture is the food basket and backbone of the world's economy, of which Ghana is included. Ghana's agriculture sector contributes 54% to Ghana's GDP and accounts for over 40% of its export earnings, while providing over 90% of the food needs of the country. Ghana's agriculture sector is predominantly subsistence smallholder, tradition and rain-fed. Gardening is one of the methods of farming that is practiced in Ghana. Gardening has been in existence since creation. Gardening helps to produce fruits, vegetables, and other farm produce. Garden is a plant space set aside for the growing or cultivation of plant for food, beautification, or just for recreational purposes. Gardening enables you to grow your own food the way you want it. Many people are skeptical when they are purchasing vegetables and fruit from market centers and shops because they cannot determine the organic nature of the foodstuff and the source of what they consume.
We are at BAF Organic and Agrotech here in Spintex trying to find out a gentleman who has started the use of pots and other bowls and other things to grow plants instead of finding land to grow them. And it's a very innovative way of ensuring that we eat organic products or produce from our own backyard or from our own gardens, and we know the source of what we are eating. Currently, I'm talking to a consultant and an architect of urban farming. He's going to tell us the essence of this whole thing.
What we are trying to do here is to change the way we live. And you know, one of the basic things we need as far as living is concerned is food. The advent of the COVID-19 has really exposed our vulnerabilities, especially in Accra, considering the fact that all the lands around us where we in times past used to farm from are now being built heavily into architecture. The coming into being of vertical farming and urban agriculture, it's a very innovative strategy to help us bring back what we've lost over the years. So what we are trying to do here is to show people, is to introduce to people the new ways of farming that cost nothing, basically nothing. We are trying to promote circular economy using the basic things we have around us to generate the food we need to survive. When the lockdown was in position, it really exposed the vulnerabilities in our food network. So with BAF Organic and Agrotech, what we are trying to do here is to show to people that it's still possible to produce food at a very basic rate. These are things you can do in your home. These are things you can use the most basic waste materials around us to cultivate. So for instance, look at the plastics we have around here. These are meant to be waste plastics, but based on the principle of circular economy, we are trying to find a very innovative use for them. And the basic approach is to use them as planting beds. Not only waste plastics, we can use waste boxes, waste wood. We can fabricate them into pallets, and these pallets will be used to grow food, various kinds of fruits and vegetables. There are three key principles attached to producing food this way. We are looking at achieving the triple bottom line, which is the environment, the economy, and socially. In the environment wise, we all know that the climate has changed significantly. The way we used to grow food in times past is not the same anymore. Materials, basic resources we had in times past don't exist today. And the human activity has affected the climate significantly, which is why innovative systems such as what is being displayed here at BAF Organic and Agrotech, it's key. It's key as the new way, as a new direction of producing food where you live. You can produce very organic food without the use of disinfectants and chemicals such as fertilizers. You can grow healthy food that will support and boost healthy immune system where you are without spending so much on it.
Historically, Ghana is a middle-income country is recognized for its agricultural potential. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization (FAO) of the United Nations, about 52% of Ghana's labor force is engaged in agriculture. In February 1972, Ghana under Military General and Head of State Ignatius Kutu Echampong in his tenure of office introduced the Operation Feed Yourself agriculture program. The policy was initiated and remained until the end of Echampong's regime in 1978. Operation Feed Yourself aimed at increasing levels of food crops produced in Ghana for domestic consumption. Ideologically, the program was an attempt towards self-sufficiency. Ultimately, Operation Feed Yourself failed to improve domestic food conditions in Ghana as local food crops remained scarce and price levels on food remained high. How do we learn from the experiences of the past and present and learn modern ways of farming, including gardening? The good news is that everyone can cultivate his or her own vegetables in his or her own backyard. You can completely avoid the use of pesticides, weedicides, and artificial fertilizers, among other chemicals, and have control over what you produce and eat. Gardens assure you of your own supply of food all year long, especially when there is shortage in food supply or scarcity.
We are here at BAF Organic and Agrotech here at Spintex in the Greater Accra region. The man behind this whole project, BAF Organic and Agrotech, he started it around 2010 till date. He's been holding on, and a lot of people have benefited from eating of organic produce from Ghana, and plants, vegetables and fruits from here. You have to know what you consume and the source where it is coming from. This man is to tell us his story, why he decided to go into organic produce or agriculture, and then the reason why he did that. I'm curious. I just want to find out why he did that.
My background, which is environmental science, and I decided to think of the alternative way and the most hygiene way of growing food. So I started from home, looking at the right seeds, the right medium of growth, and I realized that the black soil that we had here had too much clay, and the fact that it was black doesn't mean we call it a pH or the nutrients needed for growth was in there. So after a few tests, I decided to think of a better way, which is called soilless way of growing. Basically, it's biodegradable products putting together through compost and making sure that it's all composed and you have the right component for each plant. So I started looking at it, and I saw the waste in the system, where I traveled to a place where they do rice farm, and I saw the heap of rice hucks. So I started doing investigation what we could do with it, and I realized that it's a medium of growth. I went to another place where they do mushrooms, and I saw sawdust. So I decided to look into it. So I came with a formula where I combine all these things with manure, chicken manure, rabbit manure, goat manure, and also my own compost to come up with the medium, which is the soil, to be able to make it a medium for growth. I started small from my own house, moved to another place, and finally I have this land sitting there since '99. And I'm like, I'd rather bring it here, and maybe that could be my contribution also, knowing the knowledge I can pass it on. So I started growing food for myself and few friends and family, and as a hobby, and started testing everything that is possible. I'll go to market, hand-pick stuff that I want personally, get the seeds that I can try and how to preserve the seeds or make it better for me to grow. I went back, started importing organic seeds from outside, Switzerland, London, and States, in Canada, just to test it, and also other stuff that are there that we cannot grow here, and see how best we can grow, and also looking into the herbal medicines and stuff that, our grandmothers used to give us, if we can grow them also in a way more urban. And having a problem with land and stuff, I decided to see another medium of growth, which I decided let's do waste to wealth. Growing from something that is waste, which we all know rubber is a waste and is a nuisance to the society now. And me being environmentalist, I decided that, listen, all these water bottles and other stuff, oil bottles and stuff that we need, how can we convert them into use? So I saw most of these 5-liter bottles, right, through another friend, and we discussed it, and I said we started it. He was more growing in bowls, smaller bowls, because we're mainly doing lettuce. So we came up with the idea that let's do something bigger based on the roots, so that we could grow stuff like pepper, garden eggs, and stuff like kunsusa, the old stuff that we didn't have. So we did examples, and it started working from big bowls and stuff, and said, oh, so let me try and move it from a bit of hobby now to business. So I went to register the business. That's how come BAF Organics and Agrotech came. Also, letting people know that you can grow anything you want. You can start with as a hobby or a passion, and the food security, knowing where your food comes from, and looking at food as medicine rather than wasting time to go buy fake medicines that we don't know will help. Look at coronavirus came, every place is shut, no import anything. We should be able to use food as our strength. Besides that, the globalization that is coming, I think Africans have an advantage because we have 60% of the arable lands in Africa. We may not be the best of technology, but God's given gift, which is the land, is here. So we need to take advantage of it and also promote billionaires out of this product.
Having a backyard garden saves you money. You do not need to purchase every farm produce for meals. It is fascinating to note that gardening is much simpler than you can imagine. In Ghana, our soils are naturally fertile. There is moisture in the atmosphere most part of the year. A number of Ghanaians can testify how watermelon or tomatoes have germinated in their homes without their knowledge. This portrays how easy it is to start a garden.
This, for instance, is lettuce, as we call it, salad. You can grow it at home in a small container like this. Right, just make sure that it's sizable enough. We have a lot of this in it's 5-liter bottles, water, or even a bowl. If you have a kitchen bowl or plastic that is broken, you can use it to grow. With your soil, your seed, you can have your own water to grow, and it's good food, healthy. With this, wow, contumely it's abe 51 chain, wait me to I transplant it. The plastic, ginger, kakadro. You use baby. You can also grow them in a pot. With this, you get the leaves to do your teas, right? And it has a lot of medicinal benefits, and you can grow your ginger. You don't need to buy ginger anymore in a basket, in a plastic container, in your flower pot behind your house or any kind of place. You can do it. And this is also a lemongrass, which is used for tea. It's also sort of a mosquito repellent, and you can be grown anywhere. This, for instance, the local name is Brobe. Basically, there are some houses or some lands that have a bit waterlogged. So you can grow this to not only will it cover the land and absorb the water, but it can be food and it has a lot of nutritional value. And these days you cannot even get it anywhere. So it's some of the food we need to preserve. Cocoyam is very good, very nutritious. This is okra, as we all know, nkrumah. You can grow it anywhere around the house. You can make a bed like this with a wood board, fill it, and you can grow it in. And it's the aloe vera. There's antibiotics, and also you can drink, has a lot of medicinal values. This is tiger berry, as we all know as kontusa, local name, kontusa. This is habanero pepper, and that is chili pepper. It's very nutritious, Spanish. And I think now, this is the time that we're trying to live healthy. These are some of the things we need to consider growing, and it's easy to grow in pots. This is prekese tree. This plant is mainly grown in Israel and in Ghana, and we can grow it. Very, very, very medicinal.
We believe to have piqued your interest enough. By now, you should have in mind what kind of crops you are going to cultivate in your backyard garden. There is the need to eat organic food without pesticides and insecticides and artificial fertilizers for good health.